Alright you guys, welcome back and thanks for joining me again. This channel is a big resource, so please hit subscribe, hit that thumbs up button and help me out. If you guys like what I'm doing here and you want to let me know anything, please leave it in the comments. Now, first things first, I want to get my shout outs out of the way. First off, shout out to Caliber. They've been really friendly to the channel. They've helped me out with a lot of stuff. They sent me a lot of stuff and they truly do make a great product. So for a very short time, till I think it's July 31st, the code Eddie is still available for 15% off plus free shipping. Next, I just want to give a shout out to a couple of channels that have been really friendly to me too. One is MMA Barber Life. Go and check out the podcast I did on his channel. It's like 2 hours long. We had a ton of fun, and you know, he's got some great content as well, and some of it's getting pretty funny. He did a parody video on me and Ant. And secondly, yeah, go and check out Ant the Barber. He's great. He's dropping some nuggets, and I find myself even learning a couple things too when I'm watching him. So I can't do it all, so go to these guys. They're great. Also, Big L's Barber channel is a really good resource, especially if you're an owner, a shop owner, or looking for any advice around that kind of topic. He's really good and knowledgeable on that stuff. And Rum Barber is also a dope barber, and they put out some really cool content as well. So my shout outs are out of the way, and this video is going to be about how to take care of a really high fade when you have very little space to work with into long hair on top. I've had a lot of you guys ask questions about this topic exactly, so here it is. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. Beginning with my 5.0 on my Detachable Oster Octane. This machine is a beast and it can take care of anything really quick. And I don't use my trimmer to do these kind of things. I prefer to use this machine because it handles a lot of space really quickly. So then we're going to move forward with the Bronze Series 9. And of course, as I get to that line, I've showed this in detail many times on the channel before, but I wanted to keep this video in 4K, so I'm just going to do the voiceover like this. But as I get close to that line, I'm going to start flipping out and flipping away. I was kind of doing a little test here between the Finale and the Bronze Series 9, and just asking the client what they felt better. And of course, they're always going to say the Bronze Series 9 because that thing is a beast and it cuts really smooth. And I've had a lot of people complain about razor bumps and stuff like that before when I was using the other shavers, but since I switched to this one, I've really cut down on any of that. I've even had clients that went back to the skin fade as a result of it. So before I go any further, sometimes I'll just clean this up with a razor. I don't really try too hard to get around the ears with all the other machines. I just prefer to go back and hit it with the razor. It's a tool and it makes it simple. So we're going to begin with the open taper on the 50 cals, and as you noticed towards the front, the reason why I've kind of curved the guideline a little bit is I want to keep some of that hair in the very top there, just so that later when I go back and do my edge up, I have something to edge up that I can work with. So I am actually using a little bit of a C motion with my wrist just towards the very top of that line, because again, I don't have that much room to work with here, and I'm going to begin using my exact same process. So I'm just going to click it down one time, and now I am keeping it flat. I'm reducing the amount of flick that I'm using. I'm keeping it on an angle, and I'm just using the corners. I'm trying to go against the grain as much as possible, and I'm going to tell you guys that, you know, during this time, it is possible that you might want to stretch the skin a little bit. However, some clients have more stretchy skin than others, but you have to pay attention that when you're done stretching it, to make sure that it comes back. And of course, I'm talking with my left thumb, pulling up and tugging up on the skin a little bit just to hold it a little tighter so that I could get the clipper to do the job a little bit easier. Now, yes, this does work and it can help you, but at the same time, the client's head is not always like that. So when it snaps back into the regular position, you just want to make sure that it's clean. So I'm coming down little by little with the lever, just one click at a time, and I'm now on the last setting of the adjustment, and I've pretty much wiped out that entire 5.0 line. So this is kind of like a check mark here. You want to make sure that this is done. If you need to go back to your trimmer, go back to your trimmer now. Otherwise, we move forward, and I got the one open, and I'm going to repeat the exact same process. So one open with the C motion, going to create a little bit of a heavy weight towards the very top there. That's okay. But then I'm going to begin clicking my lever down, just one click at a time. There's 5 settings on the 50 cal. So literally you could just begin in the wide open position, and then every time you get a little bit closer to that previous area, you want to drop down a little bit lower, keeping it on an angle, touching down one of the corners. And you're not going to have as much trouble at these longer lengths because the hair is covering the scalp. Now the scalp is sort of like a backlight, especially like if the scalp is as bright as his is. it's going to show any little mistake that you make down at them skin levels, but those mistakes will be reduced and not as easily visible at these longer lengths, which is kind of one of the other reasons why I like to skip the half guard, is because you can see that it's going to leave a little bit of residual as I begin closing this lever down and staying just below where I was. And it might at times feel like you're just running over the same spot over and over again. And in some cases you are, but it is making a difference. There is those subtle little changes, and that's really what this is all about. This is all about detail work. So we're going in with the 0.5. I got the half on, I got it wide open. And now I'm just gonna rock and roll over those areas that are not perfect, the little bit of residual that I see. And I'm trying to do my best to keep it on an angle, just use one corner and reduce the chance of making other lines. Because if I just bring this thing up flat or perpendicular or parallel or whatever to the line, I could easily run into another line. So if you do see any residual, just go back. Anytime that you can, go back before you go forward, because you don't want to leave a mess. You don't want to use a whole lot of cleanup work at the end. So again, I got the number 1.5 on, and this is pretty much going to complete the blend on this side once I'm done with this step. It's very common to go to the number 1.5, maybe even a little bit early, and then return back to the one open. So as long as you've seen my other videos about the fade scale and stuff like that, you'll just understand where these meet. A 1.5 open, and then I'm going to begin closing the 1.5 little by little until it's fully closed. Now if you have a fully closed 1.5 and you travel into it with a number 1 open, well, those two lengths are going to meet and you're not going to have much problem there. So that's where you're going to find that fade scale comes in handy, that as long as you know where those things are meeting. Now of course I'm going through and I'm doing a little bit of I have a texturizing shear there, or a thinning shear as you might call it, and I'm just doing a little shear over comb in that area. Later I'm going to do actual shear over comb to finish this smooth area out. But as you can see, I got a very small amount of space to work with there. You don't want to bring the fade too high. We want to keep that darkness up in there. And I'm just going to reverse the process to take care of the beard. So when I take care of the beard, I start with it open, go a little bit lower, and begin closing it as I reach the top. So as we jump over to this other side, we're going to perform the exact same steps, again beginning with that C motion, and I'm creating that guideline. A lot of you might ask me if I cut hair like this, where like I finish the entire side and then I do the other side. I don't. And one of the reasons why I don't is because there's a fair amount of little checkpoints that you can use to really make this rock out. And you are sort of at a disadvantage if you choose to do one side and then the other anyways, because it's going to be wasting time changing guards, spending extra time doing every step. There's a certain amount of detail that you can do on one side before you move to the other, but I don't recommend finishing off an entire side like this and going to the other side. I do this for camera reasons and filming purposes, and that's really it. Which is why I cut my times down dramatically, because if you feel like, oh well, that'll only save like 60 seconds. Yeah, well, like let's just add this up at the end of the day after you've done 20 haircuts, and then that's 20 minutes right there, and then we add this up at the end of the week and you work 5 days. You pretty much see where I'm going. In a year, you're going to lose a lot of money off of just what 60 seconds of wasted time might be. So it seems small and insignificant to you at first, but as you add all these little techniques together, you'll find that you really will start to speed up this process. So one of the other checkpoints that I was going to mention was when I set in that open taper line. If you choose to do the entire head, you can see if it's proportionate all the way around. Just like I always tell you when you put in your 5-0 line, to put it in from the front to the occipital bone, then jump to the other side and match it to the occipital bone on the other side. And once you do that, you're going to know that it's even. You can do the same thing when you're doing the open taper, and you can even do the same thing when you're doing this step with the number 1, and we're flipping out here and we're going to begin closing the guard. But I do take those times to have that advantage, where when I'm working in the shop on a day-to-day, I'll just look in the front of my client. I'll make sure that my open taper width is the same on both sides, and just do everything that I can to make it as proportionate as I possibly can, because it's already easy enough to get off track. A lot of people ask me, oh, well, why don't you down fade? Why don't you put in harsh, don't put in harsh guidelines, just down fade it all the way. Well, yes, that can create a very smooth blend, and in some situations it's appropriate. And I'm not saying that anybody who does that is wrong, but I'm just saying that it's also possible for you to create a nearly perfect blend on both sides and have one side higher than the other, and that can also lead to extra work and who likes extra work? Like, I want this to be easy. So a quick question that I want to ask for anybody here who's following my channel is just drop it down below. How long does it take you guys to perform a skin fade like this? And I'd just be curious about what the answers are. I think I already know that most of you are going to say between 30 and 45 minutes or whatever, but there is a lot of techniques that you can utilize to speed that time up. And if you guys want me to do another video on that, I have done a video on that, to do quality fades in less time without compromising anything. I have a video on that, but I actually been kind of thinking that topic over again, and I kind of want to revisit that topic again to just try to help anybody out who struggles, because there's been plenty of people in the comments who have told me that, hey, I can get those fades, I can get those blurry fades, but it just takes me way more time than it should. And part of the reasons why I feel like it's taking you that time is you're overworking yourself, and you're probably skipping steps, and then you're coming back to these steps, and you're just not handling it all in a timely manner, because there really isn't a reason for it to extend beyond 30 minutes, unless of course you're filming. And that's another topic that I've been planning on covering in this channel. It's just good ways to take pictures, good ways to take good video, and all the equipment I use. I kind of wanted to go through it, because I made a lot of mistakes when I first started filming this YouTube channel. I bought a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have bought, and I spent a lot of money in areas I shouldn't have spent it. And I can kind of see now what I think a really good setup would look like that can help you create some really good quality videos and stuff. And I might even throw my little kids ad that I made the other day for back to school cuts are in session. So for any barbershop owners who are out there, this is a great time to start advertising for that. For us down here in Florida, the kids will be going back to school in like 1 month, so it's really a good time to start kind of advertising and drawing in that business, because it's going to be a really crazy week or two before that happens. You get these bedraggled kids that have been hanging out in front of their Xboxes for the entire summer and haven't even went outside, and they're being drug out and forced to go get haircuts at barbershops. So we definitely want to make sure that we let them know that hey, we're here, we're in this area, we're good with kids, and we want you to bring your kids in and see us, and we'll take good care of them. And that is a topic that I also wanted to film, but it's kind of difficult to find people who are open to that. And I'm really looking for a kid who's just wild, who I could film to just show you guys some of the techniques you can use with kids when they're being difficult. But we'll revisit that. So we're just doing a little bit of detail work here. Now I'm just dropping in the corners. I'm just trying to get all that detail that I possibly can to make that blend look as good as it can in that short amount of space that I got to work with. And if any of you guys are having any other questions out there about this particular haircut or a haircut similar to this, please don't hesitate to drop a comment in the bottom. I always try to get back to everybody the best that I can. And also, you guys can check me out on Instagram, where I'm constantly posting some behind the scenes kind of stuff, and I'm just showing like day-to-day regular barbershop operations. You guys can feel free to give me a message there, and I always try to respond to everybody sooner than later, hopefully. So anyways, I really didn't have to cut the top of his hair. I'm going to show you a little technique I use here with the beard. Now, a lot of you guys like to start up by the sideburns, and it really just depends on the type of beard that you're dealing with. But in this case, I really kind of like to start right down by the mustache area, and I like to try to match it up the best that I can. So I didn't show that particular part because I had the camera in my way and it was a little bit difficult. But what I always do is I like to start down by the mustache area and just get those two lines in their proper proportion with each other, and then I'll go through and I'll perform the shave. And yes, I will go directly against the grain once I'm done. Once I've matched each side, I'll get all them hairs that grow underneath the ear, and I'll try to give that client an extra day or so to have that line still looking pretty fresh, so that it doesn't grow back just overnight. And of course, before we shave against the grain, we always have to shave with the grain, and that will cut down on the chances of you giving them pseudofidiculosis barbare. Now, that's the technical term for razor bumps, and generally is caused by when a hair spins around and grows back into its own follicle, or it grows into a neighboring follicle, both of which is unpleasant to deal with. And there has been cases where people have had ingrown hairs that have swirled and swirled to the point where they have grown to be like 6 inches long. And I don't remove them. I'm not really sure what the process is on that. From what I understand, working at the barber school, there is some laws on the matter, and they do say things like you know, you can perform certain extractions and stuff. On the left eyebrow, because I'm right-handed, I always tend to use that little reverse backhand stroke there. That's a place that a lot of people get in trouble because you just can't fit the razor in. And if you're left-handed, it'll be the right eyebrow. So if you work on a little reverse backhand there, you're gonna definitely find that that's gonna come in handy in that particular stroke. I know I really didn't go into detail on this video, but I have went into detail on other videos about doing the eyebrows. But I've never actually made a separate video on eyebrows just because it's such a run-of-the-mill thing that literally comes with every single haircut that I didn't even really think that there might be people out there who could use it. But hey, if you want to, drop it in the comments. I mean, it wouldn't be nothing for me to do that. I literally do eyebrows all day long. So I'm just going through, I'm spraying a little bit of enhancement in there. I just want to show this line off a little bit. And we got really lucky, and Mike Epps walked into our shop like literally this day right after I filmed this, and he was super cool, man. I got to cut his hair. Then later we went to his show, and I wanted to make sure that we were all looking super fresh before we went. And we wearing the show, you know, we were wearing our shirts and everything, and he shouted us out on stage. It was really cool, man. So shout out to Mike Epps, man, for picking my shop. I felt like just blown away because I watched a lot of his movies and everything. It was just really a cool experience for him to stop in and show some love like that. So, but anyways, I'm just darkening up some of these light spots. He's got this colic in the front, and you know, he's got a little situation there. So we're just gonna add a little bit of dark color just to kind of bring that in and show that line off. And you know, he's just gonna have everything looking a little more full and a little nicer. And it isn't really over the top or unnatural or anything like that, but it's just, you know, a case of making it look as the best that I possibly can. So this is the finished product, man. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. And guess what? Some lucky subscriber is about to win a 50 cal clipper. Yes. Okay, now for the giveaway that I've been talking about for a few videos on the channel. Brand new 50 cal in the box, never used, and this is how you win. You will leave a comment on this video letting me know what your Instagram name is and maybe something about the video. Also, you're gonna go over to Caliber Beauty, at Caliber Beauty, and you're gonna follow them, and you're also gonna leave a comment on one of them pictures, and the comment must say something like, Eddie sent me from the YouTube Barber Academy. Mention the YouTube Barber Academy in your comment. These are the only two rules. Other than that, you got 7 days to claim it. If not, I will give it away again. As poor Mickey. Secondly, as long as you guys do that, whoever wins this contest, the first thing that I'm going to do is use a random comment picker on my video. Then I'm going to see, did they leave the comment with their Instagram? If they did, I'm going to go over to their Instagram and I'm going to make sure that they follow Caliber Beauty. All you guys got to do, go follow Caliber Beauty, leave a comment, let them know I sent you, and good luck to the lucky winner. These are a fantastic clipper, and shout out to Caliber once again for giving them to me just to give to you guys. So go show that company some love, and good luck to everybody. I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you.